Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com, and this video is all about your strengths. Specifically, I want to help you identify your strengths so you can build your business based on your strengths, because you're going to get more progress more quickly with what feels like less effort when you build on your strengths. Now, I've got a story I'm going to share that's going to put this into perspective. I've got this little kind of diagram on the board behind me that we're going to fill out, and you're going to learn how to kind of analyze yourself in a way that helps you identify that sweet spot in the middle, that money spot for you. So building a business on your strengths is absolutely vital to your success. And here's the story I wanted to share with you. It's about a golfer named Tiger Woods. You've probably heard of him, and for quite some time he was undoubtedly the best golfer in the game. Now, one thing most people don't know about Tiger Woods is that his sand trap game stunk. It was absolutely terrible. He was one of the worst golfers on the tour at getting out of the sand traps. So that was one of his faults, one of his big challenges, but the other parts of the games were his strengths. So what did Tiger and his coach decide that was best for Tiger to do? Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't to go practice getting out of the sand traps day in, day out, and try to get something he's not naturally that's not naturally a strength for him. He wasn't trying to improve those. What he did is he worked on the aspects of his game that were his strengths to make sure he avoided the pitfall and his biggest challenge. So he worked on his drives to make sure his drives did not put him inside of sand traps. He worked on his approach shots to make sure that his approach shots did not put him in sand traps. Now, this is a very, very stark difference to how a lot of people approach business. A lot of people look at business and think, I'm not very good at that, so I need to go spend an exorbitant amount of time to become still not very good at that, right? Like if you're terrible at running advertising and you spend hours and hours and months and weeks at it, you might get to good at that at best, right? You might just become like average at best. But if you work on those things that are in your wheelhouse, that are naturally easy for you to do, and you strengthen those and you work with your strengths, you will find that you can become absolutely excellent to the point of being one of the best in the world. But that only comes when you work on your strengths. And one of the kind of kickers and one of the goofy parts about this is your strengths are often hidden in plain sight. Now, I've got a few questions that I want you to ask yourself and think about in order for you to identify your strengths. But what I mean when your strengths are hidden in plain sight, these are things that come easy to you naturally. And when things come easy to us naturally, we think, well, that was easy. Of course, everybody thinks that's easy, right? But the trick is, or the kind of funny part is, it's not easy to everyone. For me personally, customer support is something that's been very easy for me for years and years. I've managed customer support departments. I've worked in corporate environments and customer support for years on end. And for me, it just was easy. People come to me with a problem that they had with my product, my service, etc. I analyze the problem. I find the right solution. I help them get their solution. They're on their merry way and they're happy again. For a lot of people, it's an extreme challenge to deal with customer support type issues. So I knew that for me, from my customer support experience, I am a natural problem solver. That is something I'm able to do. I'm able to analyze situations and challenges and then find solutions that are generally easy to implement, and then I execute them. Guess what I did behind the scenes for my business with Melanie for the first 4 or 5 years? I played problem solver because that was in my wheelhouse, right? I didn't try to be the content creator because I had a very, very limiting belief around content. You've probably heard me go into that story before. I leveraged my strengths. Melanie, on the other hand, is still a prophetic content creator, so we leveraged that. She created the content. I solved all the server, the WordPress, the backend issues. Together, we created a very, very powerful synergistic kind of little laptop startup, if you will, that we've grown. So how do you find your strengths? Because ultimately, that's the goal here, is because when you find your strengths, you can then begin to leverage them. So you need to ask yourself some questions. Number one, what do other people around you, your friends, your family members, your coworkers, what do they say you're naturally good at? What do people come to you for help with because they know it's easy for you? You got to think deep about some of these things. Another idea for you to look at is, what were you good at naturally as a kid? what came natural and easy and fun to you as a child? For me, interestingly enough, memorizing things and test taking and school, the whole process of elementary school and even kind of into high school, that all came really, really easy to me, to the point where it was like, oh, researching things and studying and learning, which is what I've done, and then regurgitating in a way, whether it's a presentation or whether it's creating a report, that actually all came very easy to me, which is why this platform you're watching now comes relatively easy. I can research topics, I can come up with ideas, I can take complex ideas and break them down and communicate them effectively, because that's kind of leveraging a strength I had as a young child. Another question that you want to ask yourself is, what do you learn quickly? Are there types of things that you do regularly that seem to come very naturally and easily to you? This could be mechanical stuff. It could be like woodworking or welding or physically putting things together. This could be video games. Do you learn video games really well? Do you learn board games really well? Do you learn gardening things? What came naturally? What were you able to learn very easily that kind of went from unknown to fun very quickly and easily? Another kind of question you want to ask yourself is, what comes easy to you that's difficult to others? Right? That's the big thing you're looking for, because oftentimes with our strengths, we feel like they're easy for us, but we forget to realize that for most people in the world, those are actually difficult things to accomplish. And when you help people accomplish things that are difficult for them, ding, 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 you've kind of found the sweet spot. That's where you can really help people. I find it easy to help you understand building a business online and internet marketing. I find that easy because I've got 15 years of experience. I've studied this with an exorbitant amount of my time and life energy, and I'm naturally skilled at communicating challenging and complex ideas effectively. That's why this works for me. You don't need to go replicate this, what you're watching with me. You need to look inside of you and find out, what are those things that you do, that you enjoy, that come easy to you, that other people look to you for help with. What is that for you? And then you can build a business around that, and you'll find when you help people achieve their goals and avoid their problems and overcome their challenges easily, when you help them with that, everything starts to work. They'll opt into your list because your answer you've provided on that free giveaway thing helps and it works. They'll buy your courses. They'll listen to your recommendations. They'll open your email, and ultimately they'll get to know you, they'll get to like you, and they'll get to trust you because they can see and sense that you can help them accomplish their goals. You can help them solve their problems. You just got to find what those problems are that are easy for you to solve and challenging for others. So let's kind of jump to the diagram here. Now, this diagram is designed to help you really understand where that intersection is between three parts of your past that is the highest likelihood of uncovering or holding that little opportunity for you to be of greatest service to the most number of people for, and that's the successful spot in business, right? Being of service to an audience at scale. All right, so there's three components here. The first one we're going to put up top is your experience or your skills. So in one of my examples, I was talking about my experiences as a customer service representative. I worked in call centers and customer service kind of situations for years and years and years, probably about 10 years. I even managed a department of 30 people at one point. I didn't go into college straight out of high school because I kind of graduated in the dot-com boom, so I went straight into the workforce, and that was where I went. So that's what the skills and experience is for me. Now, you need to look back in your past and remember, your skills and experience could be playing collegiate level basketball, which means you played high school level basketball, which means you've been playing basketball since you were 7 years old, and you have a greater understanding of the game of basketball than most people do. Your skills and experiences could be about video games. It could be about board games. It could be about remote control cars. It could be hobbies. It could be gardening. It doesn't have to be professional experience, although that obviously works. It can also be hobby-based experience or passion-based experience. But what are those things that you have an ample amount of experience to pull from? That's a key thing, because it's going to come naturally to you, just like I started making money online in 2003. I've been full-time online since 2010. I've got a lot of experience. This kind of explaining how the bits and pieces work, it comes easy because I've been doing it for a very, very long time. So that's the first part that you want to think about. Second is your education and your knowledge. This is kind of what you've studied, whether it's in a collegiate or kind of a structured environment, or whether you've just been on a self-study path for a very long time. So we're going to add that one, education and knowledge. So you want to look back into your educational experiences, and obviously, yes, I got my bachelor's degree, but I don't pull from those kinds of experiences all too much. I did have an associate's in radio and television broadcasting, which means I spent about 3 years of my life working for my college radio station. I had multiple radio shows. I ran the promotions department. I was the promotions director. So I'm able to leverage some of those experiences that I have broadcasting. I call football games. I've had a lot of experience talking on the fly live, which makes these videos kind of easy for me. That's something I pull from on a regular basis. So what in your educational background do you kind of have that you're able to bring to the table? For my wife, she studies spirituality at an incredible pace. She's read almost every book and every new book that comes out about spirituality. She devours it because she loves it. She has self-educated herself in her niche at a level that is well beyond. She's consumed and analyzed and understood and thought about more information than most people in that realm do, which make it easy for her to communicate some of these complex ideas. That's how her self-education path and process has really benefited her in her niche. The third one is, what are your natural abilities and your talents? Now, this is again looking back to what came naturally easy to you. For me, speaking in public and speaking to others came naturally easy to me. My dad is kind of one of those kind of good old boys who's got the gift of gab. My dad can strike up a conversation with anybody. He can get a smile on somebody's face, and he can really add a positive experience into just about anybody's day with just a couple of words. And it's a natural conversational ethic that he has. I picked up on that at a very, very young age, and I've been able to leverage that because that came naturally to me, right? Also, the internet. I grew up in a household where my dad worked for in computers for a newspaper organization in the San Francisco Bay Area. When the first modems came out, my dad was one of the first people to have a modem because he would dial into work to get things done. I remember going into computer rooms when they were these giant reel-to-reel machines, and the computers were actual entire rooms. And I don't remember ever not having a computer at my house when I was a kid because my dad worked in computers. So we always had computers. I always had the internet. Even before there was an internet, I was building bulletin boards with my friends using these modems and this kind of technology that my dad had access to from his work. So all of that I'm pulling from in this web world as well, because I don't really remember a time ever growing up, and I'm 36 years old, I don't remember ever not having a computer, right? And from a very young age, when AOL first came around, I spent an exorbitant amount of time on the internet, and I have been online since its infancy at a very, very intense depth understanding of how it all works, how search works, how affiliate marketing works, not only to make money on online side, but also just how the internet works. So for me, and the reason I've painted the picture for me is because I don't know you well enough to pull this information from you, but my goal has been to explain it in a way that makes sense to you so you can analyze your past and your kind of different pieces of this triad that works for you. But as you can see, for me, my experience and my skills, I've got the experience and skills of radio broadcasting, I've got the experience of 15 years making money online, and I've got the experiences growing up since almost an innate ability since I was a young child of always being around computers. The technology does not frighten me at all. This comes easy to me. Then the education and the knowledge, the amount of time I've spent in the 15 to 20 years. I built my first websites online in 1999. My self-study process of all things internet marketing has been quite notable. And you notice that that's the overlapping idea in all of these three areas. That's why I'm naturally confident and comfortable and experienced and able to help you grow your business very, very effectively. It's because of the combination of all three of those things. But for you, it might be different. You maybe played basketball from a very young age. So you have an exorbitant amount of experience playing the game of basketball. You understand how to shoot. You understand how to dribble. You understand the theory of the game. You've also studied the game of basketball. Not only have you studied footage of other people and you've watched more basketball than most people, but you've also studied the theory of the game. You understand the different types of defense, the different types of offense, the different dribbling patterns. You understand all of these components. And then maybe you were just good at it as a kid. You were that kid on the team in like Little League of basketball who just, when you got the ball, you were the one to take that last shot and you were just naturally good at it. There's people, look at LeBron James, right? There's people in the world who are naturally good at things. Yes, they've developed their talents and they've doubled down on their talents, but they're just naturally good at it. Michael Jordan's a great example, right? Like he's naturally an athletic guy. He tried baseball. He got pretty good at baseball, but that man was an absolute beast on the court in the basketball world. And that's because he had all three of these pieces of the puzzle firing together. So at this video, it went longer than I expected, to be perfectly honest, but I think that's because this is such an important thing for you to realize. It takes soul searching. You've got to really dig in and understand who you are, what comes naturally to you, what have you done more than most people, what is easy for you to do that is not easy for others to do. For me, WordPress, building funnels, creating email marketing, all that stuff comes so easily to me at this point from all of my background, my history, my studies, my experiences, that I'm able to communicate that effectively to you to help you overcome your challenges and to accomplish your goal more quickly. So what can you help others with? My wife, Melanie, for example, she's spent more time studying and practicing spirituality and meditation and kind of that very unique sub niche of where we work that business in. She spent more time and energy there to the point where she understands it at a deeper, more innate level that she's able to communicate clearly, and she's able to help people who are curious about this, who are on an awakening path, who are having these awakening experiences. She can help them understand what it is. She can help them develop their psychic talents and abilities. She's not only naturally gifted at this, it's something she's studied and practiced to a point where she's one of the best in the world at that process. So that's the audience that she's being of service to, because it's in alignment with that sweet spot of where all three of these things work together. When you find that for yourself, you will be able to move forward with confidence. You'll be able to move forward and think, aha, this is what I'm naturally good at. This is what comes easy to me. This is what I can help others with. This is what I have the most experience with. I'm all in. And when you go all in on it, you know, growing the audience, growing the list, being of service to the audience, and helping them solve their problems, that actually becomes easy. Not only does it become easy, it becomes fun. And when it's fun and easy, it gets done. And then when you're having fun, it's getting done, you're putting out the work, and you stick with it for long enough, that's when the money appears. And it's from being of service to an audience at scale. So who can you help? Who are you naturally born to help? Go find that, move forward boldly. You will be amazed at what happens, and the fulfillment of getting to generate your income essentially by helping people is absolutely astounding. My wife and I have done it multiple times over. I can tell you it's fulfilling on a level that more than just money is not fulfilling by any means, but this lifestyle of being of service and helping others really kind of achieve their goals and avoid their problems and overcome their problems and challenges, it is fulfilling on a level. I encourage you, spend the time to do a little self-analysis to really find that sweet spot for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up here. If you know anybody who's engaged in the niche research, or they're trying to find their way online, they're trying to find their business online, feel free to share this video with them, embed it in a post that's relevant if you have a post on your WordPress blog if you would like, and be sure to subscribe, because I got another video coming out in a couple of days. We'll cover another topic that will help you take yet another step towards your goals of growing a successful business online. Until then, thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it. I'm Miles Beckler, and I'll catch you on the next video.